he's done much, much better. Just looking at the pole man, I think Laurie Lepper, I know he's gone for wet tyres. Top 5 have gone for wets by the looks of it. In fact, the top 10 have gone for wets. Bit of bump in there as they leave the pit lane, but many have gone for the wet tyres, so no one taking the gamble on the slicks for this race. So karts leaving the pit lane onto the circuit, ready for their warm-up laps, and this is how the grid lines up then for the first of the pre-finals for the seniors. It's going to be Laurie Lepper after the best day yesterday to get himself pole position in kart 227. He'll start alongside Felix Wage on the front row of the grid. Row 2 then headed by the penalised Jonathan Hoggard in kart 300. He's got Luke Ibanez, the local lad, alongside. Back on row 3 we then see Tamina Bergmeyer with Max Timmermans. Tamina Bergmeyer was a winner yesterday. Max Timmermans is there on the outside in 6th place. Then back to row number 4, we have the likes of the Brit, Jordan Brown-Nutley. He's got Zumba Kovacs alongside. He was the quickest in qualifying on Friday, but didn't have the best of heats yesterday. He'll start 8th on the grid. Then to row number 5, we've got Camille Dunix with Scott Simmons alongside him. Row 6 is then headed by the Spaniard Carlos Saville Martin, and then on the outside of row 6 is going to be Alessandro Massimo Trombelli, who is the Italian racer. Row 7 then sees the likes of Clayton Ravenscroft and Axel Charpentier. Had 2 good heats yesterday, but in his second heat he failed to start after a little bit of confusion on the warm-up lap where the karts, I think, went off the track and failed to get back to the grid. So Axel has got work to do, but a potential race winner here this weekend because he was last year's junior champion within Rotax. Then to row number 8, we've got Jason Lockwood with Oscar Paloma Ortez. Row 9 is headed by Joe Phillips with Daniel Matuszek. Row 10 then sees Harrison Thomas with Max Pilker alongside. Row 11 is then going to be Patrick Rundquist with Sabo Baldazar. Row 12 headed by Ida Cohen with Tommy Preining alongside, another man who suffered a crash in one of the heats yesterday. Work to do from row 12. Row 13 then sees Alex Araya with Hans Morin. Row 14 is Baptiste Moulin with Artzemi Kamenuk. Row 15 Dajus Dabazinskas with Frank Laverne. Row 16 is there Mikkel Max with Juho Parvanen, and row 17 Joe Vorters with Mario Novak to round out the grid. One late starter to the warm-up lap was Clayton Ravenscroft. He was late out of the pit lane and has work to do to catch up, but he should be able to just about catch the rear of the senior field, which is now pretty much done. A glimpse of sunshine just trying to peek its way through, but it's going to have to break through the cloud first off before it gets to the track, so there may be a chance of some sunshine, but at the minute it's still pretty cloudy overhead with highs of just 13 degrees. So the grid is formed for the senior pre-final, slightly more laps than yesterday, 12 laps in total, which again will be very interesting amongst these returnees and of course the junior step-ups from last year. Let's see how this one's going to play out. Everyone wants to win, of course, and there are many people that can do indeed. Laurie Lepper starts from pole position. Felix Wage alongside Jonathan Hoggard and Luke Ibanez row 2 with Tamino Bergmeyer and Max Timmermans on row number 3. Here we go then. The start of the race for the seniors is about to get underway as they head towards the grid. Red lights on. As soon as they go out, we'll be racing here once again in Valencia down towards the first corner. Great start from Laurie Lepper. Will hold the inside run, being pushed all the time there from Jonathan Hoggard, but what a move round the outside there from Felix Wage, but he's gone too deep into the corner. He's just lost out. He's going to drop down to about 5th place by the looks of it, and it's very congested in towards turn number 3. Coming through there was going to be the car of Tamino Bergmeyer, and also in the mix there 205, which is Jordan Brown-Nutley. A great start from Jordan. Row number 4 up into 2nd place behind the poleman Laurie Lepper. So a great start from the Brit. Went well in yesterday's wet race, heat number 3 for the seniors. He's going very well this morning as well in this pre-final, up into 2nd place. 3rd place then is going to be the kart of... It looks like Jonathan Hoggard in kart 300 in 3rd place, but here comes Jordan Brown-Nutley looking all over the back now of Laurie Lepper to try and get through as they push their way on towards the back straight for the first time. There goes Jonathan Hoggard for a move down the inside line of Jordan Brown-Nutley, so he now goes through, but he fights back side by side off the back straight. Jordan Brown-Nutley is on the inside and he gets 2nd place back, so he's behind now Laurie Lepper once more, but those two fighting. He's just going to hold the pack up, and Jonathan Hoggard goes back through all over the curve though. He's going to probably have to give that place back to Jordan Brown-Nutley, who is going to fight down towards the first corner. Side-by-side action behind as well between the likes of Felix Wage and Tamino Bergmeyer, which we'll try and have a look at very shortly. And also involved in that is Clayton Ravenscroft. How did he get through the field like that? I'm not too sure, because he, as I said, was late out of the pit lane to get to the grid, but somehow he's jumped up the order. Fight for 2nd place continues then between Hoggard And Brown Nutley, with all this going on though, is just allowing Laurie Lepper to break away out front. So not good news for the two behind, but Laurie Lepper will be loving this at the minute. He's not going to make hay while the sun shines, but make hay while there's a wet track. That's probably the best thing to say for now. But now that Jonathan Hoggard has broke away from Jordan Brown Nutley, he may just be able to set his sights on the race leader as they work their way through turns number 10 and 11. Laurie Lepper starting to push away, but Jonathan Hoggard has just responded in the second sector, the best of anyone so far. So Jonathan Hoggard now trying to close down in on Laurie Lepper. Good fight further back there, side by side between Clayton Ravenscroft and Jason Lockwood, fellow Brits, racing together at the minute as they work their way through the final chicane. There on your screen you can see, or just saw, Tamino Bergmeyer and Zamil Donix getting very close further back as well. Great racing as ever from the senior category as those two cars work their way through. That is a fight for 7th place at the minute, probably the closest on track to be fair. So that's what we're focusing on for the time being. They're now being chased by Scott Simmons as well in kart 225, and there goes down the inside line Tamino Bergmeyer to get the place away from Zamil Donix. So up into 7th place he now goes, and as I said, not too far behind that is going to be the likes of Scott Simmons. They've now caught up with Jason Lockwood, though, in 6th place. So Jason Lockwood under attack here as they work their way down the short straight in towards turn number 9. No way through as of yet. There is a potential change as well. That's Clayton Ravenscroft, who's made up another place. He's now gone past 220, which is Felix Wage. So both of those are nose to tail. Clayton Ravenscroft loving the wet weather, probably used to it in the UK to be fair, because it rains quite a lot back in England. So Clayton Ravenscroft now behind fellow Brit Jordan Brown Nutley, who in turn is behind fellow Brit Jonathan Hoggard. The Brits doing well, 2nd, 3rd and 4th place, but it's the Finnish driver who's doing the best of all at the minute. Laurie Lepper goes through, but the gap has just been brought down now because we are down to just 9/10 of a second in this race between 1st and 2nd. And last time through, Jonathan Hoggard was about 1/10 of a second quicker than Laurie Lepper. So watch out to see what happens between that gap. There on screen you can see Felix Wage with Jason Lockwood. Now the leaders we go, 1, 2 and 3. 4 and 5 together there, which is Felix Wage now passed by the looks of it. Yes, Clayton Ravenscroft. So Clayton has lost out on this lap. There's confirmation of a quickest lap of the race from Jordan Brown Nutley in 3rd place, a 109.218. So he's the quickest man out of the top 3 for now. So watch out for Jordan as he continues to build the speed. Of course, there will be a drying line now start to appear. The more these drivers go around the track, the better the conditions will get, which will be probably good for a few, but not so good for those who are on the wet tyres, of course, because I want to try and keep them as cool as possible. As soon as you start warming them up, they start to deteriorate and the rubber starts to lose the grip it needs here. So they're going to have to just be wary of that as the race wears on. Slightly longer than yesterday, as we said now, 12 laps rather than the 10 they had in the heats in yesterday's races. But they should be able to cope with that as best as possible. Look at Jonathan Hoggard, though. He's brought that gap down even further now. It's down to 4/10 of a second again. Jonathan Hoggard has gone quicker than anyone, a 108.611. So Jonathan Hoggard now starting to reel in with his fishing rod. The race leader here, Laurie Lepper, as they turn their way in towards the right-hander at turn 5. Laurie Lepper will start to hear now the cart of Jonathan Hoggard. He'll start to see him before too much longer as well. And I'm sure there'll be a few arms started to be waved on the pit wall as well, just to say to Laurie Lepper, let's get a move on. Let's start to increase that pace if you've got any left in the tank. But here comes Jonathan Hoggard, a move down the inside line. He pushes Laurie Lepper wide and he goes through. Jonathan Hoggard now takes over the lead of the race in this pre-final. He's come through from 3rd on the grid up into 2nd place. Just had one leave in the pit lane there, which was, I think, Jason Lockwood in kart 235. So he has now left the pit lane with some dramas, but back on his way he goes. Jonathan Hoggard, meantime, as I said, has now taken over the lead of the race. So great job from Jonathan. Can he hold it through the chicane? It looks like he can for now. 2nd place is Laurie Lepper, as close as ever as they go through. Down towards the first corner, Laurie Lepper trying to retaliate as he turns his way through the right-hander. Slightly wide there from Hoggard, but he's got the grip, of course, and all over the curve goes Laurie Lepper to try and get the place back away. With all of this going on, look who has now joined the mix for 3rd place. Jordan Brown Nutley is with the top 2. So Jordan is going to be on the case of Laurie Lepper before too much longer here. So 3-1 for the lead. Watch out as well for 4th place man, Felix Wage, who's just gone and done, as you can see there, the quickest lap of anyone, a 108.588. But he's got the gap now to close down of around about 1.5 seconds. So he's got work to do to catch the top 3, but there's still plenty of time left in this race. We're on lap number 6 of this 12-lap encounter. Jonathan Hoggard leads the way. Second is Laurie Lepper. Third place for Jordan Brown-Nutley. Fourth place then for Felix Wage. Fifth place is Clayton Ravenscroft. Sixth place is Camille Donnex. Then Scott Simmons, Tamina Bergmeyer, Thomas Preining now up into 9th place from near enough the back of the grid. Tommy Preining, 2014 junior champion, is carving through this field like a hot knife through butter. Watch out for Tommy. Now just moved ahead of the Spaniard, Luke Ibanez, to get himself inside the top 10. So a great job from Tommy. Do not rule him out of this race, I can tell you that now. He's very quick. Head down across the line he goes, by the way. He's now trying to catch up with those ahead. There is Jordan Brown-Nutley then, third place man at the minute. Just biding his time here, keeping an eye on Laurie Lepper to see what he can do. And if any mistakes do come from Laurie, then Jordan Brown-Nutley will be the man to attack as quick as he can. Another quickest lap of the race has just been received there from Jonathan Hoggard, now down to a 1:08.285, which means he's extended the lead over Laurie Lepper to 0.6 of a second on the previous lap as we now tick over half race distance. There you can see the fight for what was 5th place, just behind Felix Wage. But now we're back to the leaders then, which is Jonathan Hoggard. 2nd place, Laurie Lepper, as the crowd looks on over the circuit to see what goes on with this fight out front, which is very intense at the minute between the top 4. There's another close battle for 6th on backwards. That involves Clayton Ravenscroft, Scott Simmons and Tommy Preining, who has now just about got himself onto the rear of the group there. So Tommy is going to be looking to get even higher here. It's only a few tenths of a second back from Clayton Ravenscroft, and in fact he's just made up a place on Scott Simmons. I'm just wondering if Tommy Preining has gone for slick tyres. That could be one of the reasons he's really now working his way through the field. Let's see if I can get a look at Tommy Preining's kart. No, it looks like he's on wet tyres from what I can see. So Tommy's on his way through though. He's now made up a place, I can tell you, on another man. Yeah, it looks like he's on wet tyres, Tommy Preining, so he's not doing this because he's on slicks, but he's just gone past the Clayton Ravenscroft kart, so he's now up into 6th position. Here is Laurie Lepper then, 2nd place with Jordan Brown-Nutley on his tail. Felix Wage is the man behind in 4th place as they turn through the right-hander at turn 11. Down the back straight they go then. We've got a mechanical flag being shown to Oscar Paloma Ortez. So there's damage to that kart which the scrutineers are not happy about. So mechanical flag, damage or malfunction with the kart, which means it needs to come into the pit lane. That'll be shown on the gantry this time through for Oscar Paloma Ortez. Here is where we need to be looking though, because Tommy Preining is now onto the tail of that man there, which is 245. That's Camille Donnex. And Tommy, look at that. How good a line does he take through turn 1? He's carving himself through the field, and surely he's going to get up the inside at turn number 3. Yes, he is. Tommy Preining now goes through and gets himself up into 5th place, which means he's made up 19 positions. Yes, 19 since the start of this race. That is why Tommy is a champion in the juniors from a few years ago. He's a double winner within the Formula 4 championship from last year as well, and he's just been signed as a 2017 Porsche junior driver as well. So Tommy Preining, great to have him back here and showing the calibre that we expect from that young lad. So let's see if he can now work his way onto Felix Wage. It's going to be quite a challenge, I have to say. He's 4.8 seconds back here, and we've only got 3 laps to go at the end of this one. So time is starting to run out for Tommy. Up front though, Jonathan Hoggard still leads the way in kart 300. 2nd is there Laurie Lepper. 3rd, Jordan Brown-Nutley. Those 3 now have broken away from Felix Wage completely. They've all been left on their own. It doesn't look like there's going to be any big moves happening. There is Tommy Preining then, all over the curbs on his exit of the chicane. And now under attack is going to be Clayton Ravenscroft from Camille Donnex. He's just got through, but now Camille fights back to get himself into 6th place once more. So this is the fight a little bit lower down inside the top 10. Those 2 fighting their way through the order. Behind them we've got Tamina Bergmeyer and Scott Simmons, and then Max Timmermans rounding out your top 10 as Clayton Ravenscroft now tries to get himself back to the inside of the 245 car of Camille Donnex, but it's not quite happening through turn 6 or 7. We've had a new best lap of the race now being set by someone, which could be a false reading because a 106 is very impressive, but I think that's too good to be true for Juho Parvonen. We'll have to wait and see. He's up to 16th place. He's made up 16 positions from his starting grid here, so that could be one of the men on slick tyres. We'll have to, again, wait and see towards the end of this race. But Juho Parvonen has just done the quickest lap of anyone, 106.2 at 5.75. On to lap number 11 we're about to go, so 2 remaining for Jonathan Hoggard as he crosses the start-finish line. Battle for second is now quite interesting because under attack here is Laurie Lepper from Jordan Brown Nutley. Those two as close as they've ever been in this race, so let's see what happens between Lepper and Jordan Brown Nutley. There they are, in towards the chicane at turn number 3. All over the curb goes Laurie Lepper, but Jordan Brown Nutley, if he wants to get through, has to act as quick as possible here. He needs to just go for it if he thinks he can, because that could be the difference between winning and losing this race, because if Jonathan Hoggard pulls out a bigger gap, then Jordan Brown Nutley has no chance of catching up here. But he's looking quite racy down the short back straight in towards turn number 9. He's not going to have a chance there, I don't think. Just a little bit too far back for now as they work their way then through the right-hander at turn 10. On towards the back straight they'll go, but Jordan Brown Nutley needs to be a little bit closer if he wants to make a move at the end of that back straight, which is not quite there at the minute. So Laurie Lepper is quicker on the second half of the circuit, whereas Jordan Brown Nutley is much better through the tight and twiddly stuff, through the likes of turns 3, 4 and 5. So let's see if he can do it on this next occasion, which is now going to be the last lap of the race for Jonathan Hoggard. So as he goes across the line, last lap now to be started by Jonathan. Second still for Laurie Lepper, third place for Jordan Brown Nutley, and fourth place for Felix Wargate. Tommy Pruning hasn't managed to close down the gap that much, I'm afraid to say, so he's going to remain in 5th place by the looks of it, but still very impressive. 19 positions made up from the start of this race. Tommy Pruning, I think, will be very happy with that result at the end of this pre-final. Puts him in a very solid position for the start of the final, and it could be a potential winner come the end of the day for the seniors. We'll see how that turns out as we get there later this afternoon. Second and third onto the back straight then for the final time, and looking to the inside line is going to be Jordan Brown Nutley. That was probably his best opportunity to get through on Laurie Lepper. He's now got one more chance off the back straight down to turn 12, but again he's not quite going to be close enough to make a move by the looks of it. As onto the back straight for the final time comes our race leader and soon to be race winner. Jonathan Hoggard leads by 1.5 seconds. He looks comfortable. He was going to be on pole position after that penalty, but now Jonathan Hoggard is going to get the best result in the pre-final. Through he comes to take the checker flag in seniors. It goes to Jonathan Hoggard, winning by over 2 seconds in the end from Laurie Lepper and Jordan Brown Nutley, who come through to secure second and third place. A good drive there from the Belgian racer Felix Wargate, and Tommy Pruning comes through to round out the top 5 after a sterling drive from 24th on the grid. He comes up into 5th position. He's going to be, I'm sure, beaming from ear to ear at the end of that race. But it's going to be Jonathan Hoggard, the Brit, who wins in the greasy conditions in the senior pre-final. He'll be starting then the final from the best possible place. Pole position for Jonathan Hoggard. He wins, as I said, in the end by 2.6 seconds ahead of the Finn Laurie Lepper. Still a good result for Laurie. For the Heikki Vassanen team. Jordan Brown Nutley for Dan Holland comes through in 3rd. Felix Wargate in 4th ahead of Tommy Pruning. Camille Deniques is next up in 6th place for Unique Racing. KR Sports Clayton Ravenscroft did a good job to 7th, and Tabino Bergmeyer was 8th ahead of Scott Simmons and Max Timmermans. Alessandro Maximo Trombelli was 11th ahead of Zumba Kovacs. Ida Cohen, Juho Parvanen and Joe Phillips. Good result from Joe as well. Luke Ibanez, Max Pilka and Zabo Baldazar in 18th. Harrison Thomas was next up in 19th. Baptiste Moulin rounds out your top 20, and the rest of the runners down there from 25th to 34th with 2 non-finishers, Oscar Paloma Ortez and Dajus Dabazinskas as well, who didn't manage to get to the end of the senior race. But some great action as expected from the seniors. They now can relax, get themselves set and get themselves ready for the final later on this afternoon, where we'll see Jonathan Hoggard starting from pole position.